And Zebasai's landing these shots thick and fast. A good couple of picks coming in from Misfits now. They get another one. Hidden finds JKW. Zebo has the sniper rifle. It's going to be hard. Blue walks straight into it. Perfect work from Zebasai. Really getting the job done now.
Widowmaker is a lot more viable than she used to be, even in this tank-heavy meta, as Misfits showed us by playing a 3 DPS strategy to win DreamHack Winter. I already broke down Soon's component of the 3 DPS three-headed monster, but in a big way, Zebasai flexing on Widow or Zarya was a key component as well. In this video, I'm going to break down the strategy of how Misfits use the space that Widowmaker creates to make plays for Soon on the backline. And we're going to break down some examples of it working really well and what benefits a sick Widowmaker can bring your team. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of you who would like me to teach you how to aim with Widowmaker. Note, that can take an entirely separate video on aim, because if I explained it fully, I wouldn't have time to talk about anything else. But we will break down one clip to explain how Zebasai aims, and then get to the strategy component. The opening clip to this video not only was a sick shot, it also showed a few good examples of strong Widowmaker fundamentals that you can implement in your play. We're going to take it into super slow motion now so we can see every little aspect. First and foremost is the concept of crosshair placement. If you're playing a hit scan hero that needs to go for the head, you should always be trying to preemptively place your crosshair at the most likely point of contact where your enemy's head is going to be coming around corners. Here, Zebasai is actually well prepared for this tracer to come around the corner. However, even the best players in the world have human reaction time. Insane human reaction time. But there's some things that are just too fast on a computer screen that the human eye can't see. Tracer pops up on his screen and zips past, and he isn't able to pull the trigger fast enough. And now his adjustment is what's interesting. He goes to acquire the placement first before firing. Now, he could attempt a massive flick shot, predicting where the Tracer was going to blink, trying to get it to the head in one fell swoop. That would be an even more amazing shot. But being impressive doesn't secure kills. Being smart does. Zebasai acquires the crosshair placement first. He puts the crosshair in the general area where Tracer is going to be after blink so that he can make the adjustment second. To sum up the aiming style, in the most simplest terminology, is place, then flick. Place, then flick. Place, then flick. You want your crosshair in the best possible place to where you think the enemy's head is going to be. If you acquire the target, pull the trigger, but if not, make that quick adjustment to find their head immediately and capitalize on the shot that's in front of you. But it sounds so simple! Well, actually hitting the shots when you see them is the hard part. The methodology is kind of simple, and if you look closely through Zebasai's clips through this video, you'll see that that is the aiming style. There is some Widowmakers that might do more flick-heavy play, but the truth of the matter is, I don't know if Zebo considers himself an all-star Widow, but I don't, to be honest. He's just the only pro that's running Widow right now, but he plays it as a flex player, which is what I find even more interesting. He doesn't play it to necessarily carry the team by himself. He plays it to contribute into the team lineup and the dynamic of their three-pronged approach with triple DPS. With that being the case, he doesn't have to go for nor hit every single insane shot. The way Misfits team comp is set up, it's not expecting the Widowmaker to carry them. He just has to play a stable Widowmaker for the strategy to work. And with that being the case, the more conservative acquire and fire strategy, instead of just flicking to every shot immediately, is the way to go, because it'll give him the most reliable impact on Widow, even if it means he hits more body shots. His role in the team is to set up the flankers to have a good time, whether that means he gets a pick off, which is great, or even hits a body shot for one of his flankers to finish off. The cool thing about the 3 DPS strategy, or what I like to call the squad comp, it puts pressure on the defense to bend until it breaks. In these tank-heavy lineups that teams are running, you can't really expend the resources to go chase down the Widow, and if you do, you're stretching out the team and thinning out the resources, which is what the flanker characters want anyway. It's hard for Soon on Tracer to dodge all 6 of them, even though we've seen him do it. It's even easier if they start to split themselves up. So it's that threat of the Widow playing at range that's so good. And the reason why I call this squad comp, because it's a polar opposite of the standard death ball. For a long time, the one way to play the game was to stand behind the Rhine Shield with your entire team. But with 3 DPS taking alternate angles all the time, the best way to play is to split up and try to win duels individually. And if you do, the enemy team, who's probably running a more balanced team comp, or nowadays a tank-heavy one, losing a key target crumbles that comp. And in 3 and 4 tank strategies, the key targets are both Roadhog and Ana. Ana keeps everybody alive, Roadhog is their main DPS, and without it, they struggle to kill things. Because Roadhog always has that long-range hook that can, in an instant, kill something. Whereas the other tank characters can be avoided, more or less. Here, Widowmaker's poking up at the top, really stressing Fnatic once again. Zebasai plays from the bridge, always lurking, always watching. And with considering the fact that the previous clip I just showed off Ana getting picked off first, which was detrimental to Fnatic and got wrecked for it, they're trying better to hide their supports a bit here. So, Zebo hits the headshots that are in front of him, and each time he lands one of those big bursts of 300 damage, it's straining these tanks. Ana can heal loads in a burst, but if they have nothing to deal with the Widow, and she has a shooting gallery in front of her, all she needs is time to eventually hit a crucial shot until an opening is formed. The structure of the team comp is to use the Widowmaker's scope as the initiation tool, not a Winston dive, which is why I don't call this a dive comp. In squad comp, they're waiting for the ranged DPS to find an opening. Zebasai hits a chunky headshot on the Roadhog, and both of the supports of Fnatic spend their resources to save his life, because they know Roadhog is the key for their team comp to put out any damage. But the ultimate value isn't there. Misfits doesn't have to fight a fight they don't want to. They have two flanker characters and a Widow that plays at range. The sound barrier wears off, and Fnatic's defense crumbles. Here's another example of Misfits using this 3DPS squad comp in overtime to put strain on the enemy defense. The flankers move out, get information, try their best not to die, but Buds gets hooked. Feels bad, man. Well, they're pushing up the cart anyway, soon we'll be back in a second. Knowing the positioning of the Roadhog now, Widow aims to zone him out. That hog wants to get value. He wants to be able to play aggressively. He wants to be able to peek out and get an insta-kill for free because he's Roadhog. But playing at range is keeping him honest. They know where he is. Blink and you'll miss it. While we were watching Nevik spam down the Roadhog from range, he made one little misstep, peeked out, and Roadhog's head got blasted by Zebasai. 300 HP gone immediately. Now with him on the back foot, what is he to do? He falls down to try to get Ana healing, takes a breather himself, but against this Widowmaker who can deal 300 damage in an instant, you don't have infinite health. You can die, Roadhog, finally. And this kind of gameplay is kind of a breath of fresh air in a meta where Roadhog is considered unbeatable. Well, as it turns out, his hook has a limited range, and Widowmaker plays outside of it. So if you deny that hungry hog his ability to gallivant through your team comp, getting insta-kill after insta-kill, he's forced to play in a really confined, claustrophobic space, limiting the output that he can have. Either forcing the enemy team to be more aggressive and dive into you, or eventually bend and break, as often does happen when Misfits plays this comp. One last clip for us to break down here, and I have showed this before in the Soon clip, but this time instead I want us to pay close attention to where the ranged hit scans go, Zebasai included. This last point of Gibraltar has two high grounds, a middle bridge and a back bridge. As this fight develops, Soon is in the backline doing all the dirty work, but be careful to look up to see where his Misfits buddies have set up. While Soon is wrecking everything, it might be hard to notice that Zebasai is far out in the distance, and Nevik's on Soldier is above him once again. Taking this strong positioning was almost a guarantee for Misfits to take this point, because how can they possibly deal with the 3 DPSs crossfiring them from different ranges? This is more of a traditional FPS sort of setup, something that you might see in like Counter-Strike or other shooter games, where setting up multiple angles of attack is really powerful. Playing more DPS is all about taking proper positioning, so you watch each other's backs, you can crossfire on the same targets, and once Widow gets high ground in the back, Soldier gets high ground in the midsection, and the Tracers in the backline, what's the enemy team to do but get tore apart? They have to play insane and probably kill the Tracer first, likely getting shot by the other two ranged DPS characters at the same time, or they go chase those other characters in an unfavorable duel, meanwhile the other DPS that they aren't accounting for at that same time are wrecking their team. It's a nightmare scenario for this tank-heavy lineup that isn't very mobile. But the truth of the matter is, it takes a lot more skill to play. And with MLG Vegas right around the corner from posting this video, I don't know if I can promise you that multi-DPS will be shown. We may just see a lot of tanks instead because it's a more reliable way to play. But in my opinion, multi-DPS is the secret to breaking multi-tank. It's more flimsy, it's easier to get punished because Roadhog can hook a squishy and insta-kill you anyway, but if you play safe, play smart, and win the positioning battle, no amount of balling up and tanking on the low ground is going to be good enough. It's a much more difficult way to play the game, but as we saw at DreamHack Winter, where it forced Fnatic to switch off their tank-heavy lineup and put Buds on Tracer to mirror Soon as well, it can cause fits for these teams that want to just huddle together in a ball and Ana heal and Roadhog hook their way to victory. And based on the success that I've seen Misfits portray, I personally think that multi-DPS is the answer, even if it means tossing trash damage and pumping up Ana's nano boost. Because the truth of the matter is, if you have the positioning battle and they have Nano in their pocket, good for them. Do they want to come chase you? I think not. Nano is slow now, and though it can make a target a pure badass, it doesn't win team fights like it used to, especially not if they have 3 or 4 tanks. Yes, I know Nano sights is a thing, but I'm telling you, pummel more DPS into these tanks. Squad comp is the answer. Frito for Overwatch President 2016. DPSing our way to victory. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I had a blast making it. I love making these pro guides, even though they do take me a very long time to compile. So to show your appreciation, please tickle me with that like button. It really does help me out and makes me feel very good. When I see the community interested in pro games, I can't express enough to you guys how it warms my little nerd heart that you guys find this interesting and helpful to you. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that big red button and be sure to click the bell icon to make sure you get notifications when our videos go live. Just as well, check out our Twitch streams, where we do a variety of things, sometimes play with viewers, teach viewers, do 6 stacks on our own, banter in small queue, do sub games. It's a fun extravaganza over there, so you're going to want to be sure to set up for email notifications so that you not only see when we go live, but what type of stream we're doing that day. Follow us on Twitter at YourOverwatchYT for stream announcements, updates, and cool clips of sick things that happen in the game that we do or get done to us. You're not going to want to miss that. Check out our Discord server linked in the description to find teammates to pair up with and interact with the Overwatch community at all ranks on all platforms. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch.